Good morning. Welcome to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous of 2026. We are going to get started off by introducing Bob Wells, a central figure in the nomad world and van life movement. He really needs no introduction, but for those who don't know, he is the creator of Cheap RV Living and the founder of the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous and the driving force behind the Homes on Wheels Alliance. This supports people living on the road, and some of you may recognize him from the movie Nomadland. Please give a warm welcome to Bob Wells.
Hi, everyone. Glad you are here. Here we are doing this again. It's become kind of a regular thing for me. I've been doing it for a little while. And I like to know where you are from. So how many of you, I want to know who came the furthest. So what's a long ways away? Florida. Let's just say, how many of you came as far as Florida? A few, yeah. And how many of you came from as far away as New England? A few of you, yeah, quite a few of you, actually, yeah. Yeah, if I were in New England, I'd be coming down here too right now. I mean, it's certainly not sunbathing weather, but it's probably warmer than New England right now. Okay, well, how many of you are from a foreign country? Actually, you'd be surprised if you could look around and see there are quite a few every year. Well, foreign country, I guess that would include Canada and Mexico, wouldn't it? So that isn't very far, but it's a foreign country, so that counts. So yeah, people come from a long ways away, and this year I know we have at least one person in a U-Haul van that came and rented a U-Haul van, and they're doing their practicing here. I think that's a great way to do this. So I thought I would I don't want to take too long. We got a lot to do this morning, and it's mostly just housekeeping. So I thought I would just briefly go over the history of the RTR and how it started and how we got here, and especially the name, RTR, Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. And so I've had a lot of people ask over the years, where did that name come from? And so I thought I would give you a little introduction to it. So first, I guess I'll start with myself. I started living in a van. Well, I started living in a van in 1995, but the internet was becoming a pretty big thing by 2005. And, it wasn't huge, but it was getting a good start. And I started the Cheap RV Living website in 2005. And it existed in 2008 when the economy just really collapsed, the Great Recession. And so in 2008, when the recession happened, my website exploded, and the number of people living in their cars exploded. And so if you were going to be forced to live in your car or live on a really extremely tight budget, you went on Google. Well, I don't even know if Google existed. I'm sure it did. But the big thing was Yahoo. And you would go on Yahoo, and that's what you would search. Yahoo was the Google of the early 2000s. And then, of course, Google came along and kind of just wiped them out. They're still around, but not so big. And so I went on. I had a Yahoo website, Cheap RV Living, and it grew, and people got to know me, and I got to know them. And in 2008, it really, really grew. And on Yahoo back then, there was a forum. It wasn't forums. What were they called? They had a different name. Groups. They called it groups. And there was a van dwellers group. And I had nothing to do with starting it, but I was a member. And I loved living in a van so much. I told everyone I could about it. And so then I started, and later on, I started the website because so many would come to the groups, and they'd all ask the same question. If you've ever been in a forum or a group, you know, all newcomers ask the exact same question. So I started a website and put my answers, because by then I'd been a nomad for 10 years, starting in 1995. So I had some answers, and they needed them. And so I started the website to create when they had that first question, they could go there and I would answer. How do I go to the bathroom? You know, that was a big page on my website back then. How do you go to the bathroom? And so, and it has been ever since. I almost over go, let's talk about the toilet. No, you get a bunch of nomads together, you're going to be talking about the toilet. And so that's okay. That's a good thing, I think. We're actually acting like human beings when we do that, not just pretending we're these unusual things. So and at that time with these Yahoo groups, we would have gatherings. So I had gone to several gatherings before earlier than that, in about 2006, 7, and 8. And they were pretty big, 10, 15 people show up. And that's a pretty big group when pre-internet, or just the very beginning of the internet. And so I wanted to start a group. And so I had a gathering, and I knew a bunch of people, and I posted it on my website. I'm meeting. A group of us is meeting, and we had 13 people, which was a pretty good sized group then. And so, no, I didn't put it on the website. The website didn't exist. I didn't put it on the website. It was just a group of friends. We had 13 people, and it was fantastic. We gathered for about a month, and then we left. That was in Pahrump, Nevada. So I asked all my friends, what do you think if we made a big activity out of this? And they all thought it was a good idea. So I advertised the first RTR, and that's what I named it. I advertised the first RTR on the website it was on 2011, January of 2011, so I was advertising it in 2010. And we had 45 people. That was a pretty good group of people. It was a pretty large group of people. And so we continued doing it, and we've been doing it every year since. So would that make this the 17th annual? Does anyone know? I think it would be. Yeah, I think it would be. I'd have to count it in my fingers, and I'm not going to do that in front of you because I'd be embarrassed. So we'll assume it's a pretty big number. And it grew and grew and grew. The next year, it almost doubled. We had like 90, and the year after, we had maybe 150, and it grew, and then it's kind of steadied out, and it became that. And then I went on YouTube in about 2015 or 16, 17, I forget. These are ancient dates. I don't remember them. And that really, when I advertised it on YouTube, it kind of exploded. The first year I advertised it on YouTube, we had 5,000 people. And that was a big group. That was a lot of people. Here in Quartzsite, it was out at Skadden Wash. And so that was a really big group. And the next year, in 2019, when I advertised it, we had doubled, and we had 10,000 people. And by then, we had grabbed the full attention of the BLM, and they came out. And so we had gotten a permit for 2018, because by then we were growing big enough, and we knew we were going to be bigger. And so we got a permit and went through the whole permitting process. And then that following year, so we said we're going to grow again. Let's figure 10,000. We worked really closely with the BLM, and we put together. They were very, very cooperative and helpful. And we put together the 2019. And when instead of we're just gathering here, and I'll tell you that story in a minute. But we used to just camp out in the desert together. Just big wide open space at Skadden Wash we found. But when it became 10,000 people, that became a lot of people. And it was the camping together that was wonderful beyond words. We did the teaching. We did all that. That was great, and I will not in any way denigrate that. But it was the camping together. And and a lot of people said, that's too many people. I can't go. But what we found was that we would create these little neighborhoods. You'd come in and camp, and you'd meet the guys just right around you, just like we still do. And you'd meet all these people, and you'd become friends and lifelong friends, and it would have a little community, and you would do things together, and you would have, that we all do, and we still all do. We would have fires every night, and we'd have potlucks, and let's go to the RTR today, and you'd all walk over. Or maybe some of you would be artists. And then these little subgroups started popping up, and we had an artist colony, and we set aside. We named the roads. Building roads is very important with the BLM because if there's an emergency, people have to get in. You have to be able to define emergency services where you're at. So we didn't build roads, but we had designated areas, and so we knew where they were. And you could know where you were, and even then we had to do that. And it came off just super well. And in 2018, I met Jude. Well, I met Jude before then, 2013.
It was 2017 when I started with them.
It was 17, 18.
2016 is when I went to my first RTR, and we were real proud because we had 200 RVs there, which was about, 600 or 800 people in 2016. And then it jumped in 2017 to that 5,000 you were talking about. And then it went up by 2019. It was the fire department would come out every 2 or 3 days and estimate how many people we had. And they told me that we had almost 11,000 people at that 2019. So
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was just an astonishing, and it was so wonderful.
yeah, it was really great.
It was the people just got to know each other, and yeah, it was a really big group, but it was just really a thing of joy.
And it was really great because we created streets with street signs, and we left enough room in each area so that people wanted to get their little neighborhoods going. Then they were able to create those different neighborhoods, and like you said, Bob, it was wonderful. And people were so good. We had with that many people, we had very, very little confrontations. It was just great. Everybody just really melded together and really kind to each other.
And one thing we always did, because we knew we were guests of the BLM. It's public land, but that large a group, you're a guest, and it doesn't bother me at all that we needed to get their permission and work with them, because that's a lot of people. Someone could get hurt, and people could leave the land a disaster, but we always left the land so clean, and we were great stewards, great stewards. It was cleaner when we left than when we got there. It was just thinking about back to it warms my heart. So we did have a problem in that the BLM saw our growth. We'd gone from a few hundred to 10,000 in just a few years. And so they got it. I think they got it in their minds. This is going to be another Burning Man. It's going to keep growing. Mm-hmm. And so if it's going to become another Burning Man, and the BLM's had a lot of problem with the Burning Man over the years because its growth was so explosive. They got so huge. They said, we're going to treat it like Burning Man today. And we're going to put all the same standards and restrictions if this were 50,000, if it's another 10,000. And so we just found it impossible to work with them. For one thing, they're really, if we had 15 or 20,000 the next year, which we might have, there just isn't an area here in Quartzsite big enough to hold 20,000 people. There just isn't. Even Skadden, where we was just really couldn't do it. So we basically found it impossible to work with the BLM, and we discontinued camping then, because we would have to charge, and the BLM charges. They were going to. We worked with them long and hard, and they told us it'll cost you $300,000. We found a place over in California because there's big open lakes there, kind of like Burning Man, where we can put 20,000 people. These weren't lakes, but they were pretty close. But we could put 20,000 people on it. And they said it's going to cost you $300,000 to put this event on. And of course, you know, we don't charge. We have never charged a penny for any RTRs. You didn't buy a ticket. You just walked in. You walk in and out, and you'll do it every day. And we've never charged. We're not a profit maker. It never was a profit maker. It was always a profit loss. I personally paid for all of it. By then, the website was making some money, and I just took all that money and put it into the RTR. I bought at the end of the year, at the end of the season, I went down and paid for the toilets and all that. So I couldn't pay $300,000, and so we discontinued the camping, and we until we start charging, we probably will never have camping again, because there's not enough public land to hold that many people. So there you go. That's a brief history of the RTR. Now let me tell you, what time is it? How much am I blue? Oh, that's where that's what we're doing next. Just wanted to make sure I covered all I did. Yeah, I'm done. Over. So I'll just briefly go over the name. So back in 2011, when I started advertising for the first #1 RTR, I said, well, I need a name. I need something to call it. And so I kind of chewed on it and thought about it. And the Rendezvous came first. First, I knew I wanted it to be Rendezvous. And that was based on the Mountain Man Rendezvous of the early 1800s, 1820s, and 30s. The mountain men were all over the Canadian, over the American Rockies, Canadian Rockies too. They were all over the Rockies looking for beaver pelts. You know, that was an explosion. The Europeans wanted beaver pelts for hats, and you could go out there and catch some beaver and get rich. It was gold. And so I love that idea of a rendezvous. Well, I love the idea of the mountain men. And I kind of compare us to the mountain men movement. You know, we couldn't just sit in a house and be normal people. You know, they just got them itchy feet and had to move and had to connect to nature. Four walls didn't work. I had to connect to nature. I had to wake up every morning and walk out and look around and see all the glory and beauty of nature all around me. And that's what they were. They could not live a normal life, and so their itchy feet demanded they move, and that's what they did. And so I really see a lot of connection between us and them. A lot of us are that really independent. You know, I don't crowd me in, don't push me into a corner. Let me move free and be wild. And so I loved the mountain men so every year, as independent, as wild as they were, once a year, they'd get together and have a big blowout, and they'd all have this great big party. And that's what I envisioned the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous being. So just kind of imagine, of course, those were pretty wild places. They were hard-living men and women, and then they a lot of drinking and a lot of partying and fighting, and we're not doing those things, but we're having a good old time. Of course, they were all mostly generally younger people, and we're not generally younger people. Not a whole lot of younger faces out there. And so that's the name, Rendezvous. I loved the Mountain Man Rendezvous, and so I chose Fur Rendezvous. That's actually what I think it was mostly called. They gathered together at the end of the season, sold their pelts. Traders would come in, sell them stuff, buy the pelts. And so it was it was a rendezvous for pelts. A lot of French Canadians. And so that's why rendezvous being a French word, that's why it became known as a rendezvous. So that's the rendezvous part. And then Rubber Tramp. Rubber Tramp, at that time, the movie Into the Wild had just come out. Sean Penn directed, and I forget the actor's name. Cliff McCandless, not Cliff. I forget his first name. What? Christopher. Chris McCandless, yes. How he had that mountain man spirit. He had the same spirit we all had. He just tried to carry it a little too far and went out into Alaska. And you can do the stuff he did here in the lower 48, you can do here in the lower 48. You can't do it in Alaska. Alaska won't forgive you any mistakes. And he went out and he made mistakes and he got himself killed. I lived in Alaska all my life, and so I remember when that whole event took place, and he didn't get much sympathy in Alaska because you don't go and toy with Alaska. It's ready to kill you things here in the desert are ready to kill you, but if you use some common sense, you'll stay alive. But that's not enough in Alaska. You got to really know what's going on, or you are dead. And that's just exactly what happened to him. But I loved him, and I loved the story. And if you watch the movie, there's a scene in it where he was what they called, going back to the 20s, 1920s and 30s, the times of the Great Depression, and the hobos. And at the hobos, there was a whole group of, the law called them vagrants, and chased them around and arrested them on sight. But they were hobos who rode the rails, and there were leather tramps who just walked, and that's what Christopher McCandless was. He just walked. He was a leather tramp. And there were rubber tramps who had vehicles and traveled around the country looking for work, and they would live out of their vehicles, and then they would stop and work. And that was the exact image I had for us, for the website that I created, to show how you could do that. And just like then, we have to skirt around the law a little bit, because the law wants you to settle down in a house and work and make rich people even richer. And so if you don't like doing that, then you're not going to fit in all that well in our society. And so it's very, very similar. And so it became the rubber tramp, because we were our vagrants, but we were on wheels. And some of us great wheels, and some of us not so great wheels, but they were wheels. They were rubber. And so it became the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. All right, I better stop. You guys have a lot more to do. All right, well, I'm probably just going to leave, because for 10 years I was the one that stood here and did all this. And then when it grew too large and became just overwhelming, I said, well, I need someone a whole lot better and smarter than me, and that was Jude. And boy, was I right. She ran, you look around here, you see hundreds of volunteers, because she had many volunteers as well. But we have like 20 leads. Do we have 20 leads?
20 leads.
28 leads. And each one broke, all the departments are things we have to do here are broken down into leads, and then the leads work directly with the volunteers. And for the first 10, I just did everything alone, because it was easier to do it alone than find someone who I could depend on to come. And then it grew too much, and so I dumped all that on Jude. And so for 3 years, three years, Jude did it, and did it superbly well. The year when we had 10,000 people, Jude did it all, and she had a super great guy as her right-hand man, and all. We did have an army of volunteers, but she did it all, and it was really astonishing that she pulled that off, and pulled it off superbly.
Thank you for that, Bob.
That's not enough. Believe me, that's not saying enough. Let's give Jude a really big hand.
Thank you.
And then, Bob, you are going to be back. You're going to be back at 2 o'clock to discuss your philosophies, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to have a talk about my philosophy of nomad living, and I've actually done it before a few years back. And you may or may know, not many of you are here back, I'm sure, but I've done it before. So
Well, it was very popular, so
Very popular.
please come on back at 2.
thank you all so much for being here. We're so glad. We just enjoy everything we're here to do for you, and make friends. Make friends. Don't leave here. I'm giving you homework. You got to have homework, don't you? We're not too old for homework. Your homework is to leave Quartzsite with 5 new friends for life. Friends for life, not just casual acquaintances, guys you know, friends for life. For the rest of my life, these are going to be people I value and treasure. And I believe each and every one of you can do that, even no matter how much of an introvert you are, and believe me, I know, you can do it. And that's your assignment for this trip. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Bob. And Bob introduced Jude Moss, who is the brains.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of help.
And Jude, you were going to introduce a few other people, correct?
Yes, I am. Okay, I would like to introduce Karen, who's right here. Karen is our executive director, a volunteer. She really volunteers her time, and there's a lot of time involved with that. HOWA is Home Alliance, a Home on Wheels Alliance, and she's our fearless leader. I mean, the buck stops with her, and she's wonderful. She's been involved with RTR forever, Karen. I don't know how long. 2012. And yeah, I know because my first one was 2016, and I met you then, and yeah. So, you guys, we have a HOWA booth over that away somewhere, and please go over and just say hi. Again, she was also part of our team leadership of putting the RTR together, and. So, I mean, she just does fabulous work. Anyway, we're very appreciative of Karen. And then I'd like to introduce Tracy. She's really, I really, even though I'm the coordinator, I really call her my co-coordinator. We're all volunteers, and she is, to me, the glue. If I would come unglued without her. So, I mean, she has taken care of all the infrastructure. And again, we also part of the leadership team. And she just does fabulous work. So whenever you see her, go up and thank her, because there would be no RTR without her. So anyway, again, much appreciated. She does so much.
Tracy, are you hiding over there, or did you wave and say hi?
Wave and say hi, Tracy.
Huge thanks to Tracy.
Absolutely. And then I would like to introduce Jake. Jake is another fabulous person who's been a volunteer, and he wears many hats. And you've been here since what, 2019? 2019. He saved my bacon in 2019 because we had some stuff with the media stuff that needed to be taken care of, and the person that was doing it had to leave in an emergency. And if he had not stepped up, we would be no sound, no stage, nothing. So, he wears many, many hats. Actually, we would not be here this time because he sets everything up. Him and his crew sets everything up and tears everything down and takes care of everything in between. And gosh, there's so many things. You wear so many hats. He's emceeing. I mean, he drives the truck around and watering the parking lot. And I
didn't want anybody to know that part yet.
Anyway, so I mean, I can't say enough for him. Also, I mean, we've just had a great leadership team to put this together. It's not just one person, and we have wonderful volunteers, which I'll mention later. But anyway, I just want to introduce Jake.
Hi. Is it time for housekeeping?
Sure.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get ourselves orientated a little bit here so we know the lay of the land and how we can all best get along as a community for the next few days while we're at this awesome event. Any fluffy things before I launch into the dirty business?
Well, I don't know. You want to talk about that first, and then I'll talk about safety?
All right, we'll talk some dirty business. In the Nomad community, we talk about poo in many different flavors: human, dogs, and porta potties. We have 2 sets of porta potties here at the RTR. There's one set back there where I'm pointing, and one set is out at the in the parking lot behind us at the end. Each set of porta potties includes one ADA compliant porta potty. The things that go in the porta potties should be things that came out of our bodies and the provided toilet paper. We do not put personal trash, dog poo bags, kitty litter, or anything else, any personal trash in those porta potties. Some of those porta potties are labeled, I crap you not, period friendly. So there are special places for ladies to dispose of their sanitary supplies in them without dropping them into the porta potty. There's little trash cans there. So please keep that in mind. as you target your desired porta potty.
And that's no joke, Jake. When I was running the RTRs out in Skadden Wash, you would not believe what people tried to put into those porta potties. We found underwear. We even found phones. I mean, tin cans and people's rubbish. So just please, 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 please be aware that they cannot take that out. They cannot pump that out. That means they have to manually go in and do it. And every time they have to do that, that raises our cost for porta potties. So please, please, just be very aware of that.
And it slows down the process. They come clean them every day for us to have clean potties, so that really helps all of us out. Keeping on the poo theme, dog poo. A lot of us have dogs. I have a dog. We do have some dog rules we need to be very diligent about. If your dog poos on the property, please pick it up. If you need a bag, many of the volunteers wearing these safety vests have some on them, or ask around or they can find one for you. No aggressive dogs are permitted here, and if your dog behaves aggressively, you must take him or her or they out immediately and not return. So please keep an eye on your dogs. And a 6-foot leash will help with that. Another rule is a 6-foot maximum length leash. No retractable leashes are permitted. They've caused some problems. We've learned this for history. It's one of those ask me how I know things. You must have proof of vaccinations for your dog, especially rabies. If there is a dog bite incident, you must be able to provide that proof. We're not saying wear it on your person where it'll flap around and give you a paper cut, but have it available. And if your dog is in heat, she cannot be here during that time. Did I miss anything on that one?
I think that's good. You want me to touch on safety now?
Safety, I have a different order, something give me.
Okay.
Parking. First of all, a big, huge thank you to all of our parking volunteers out there that are guiding us in every morning.
Absolutely. That is a big, big job. So we're very thankful that they're there.
And for those people who don't make it all the way into the lot and are tempted to park out on some of the residential neighborhoods, some of the residents have been having problems getting out of their driveways. It's really hard to tell the difference between some of these residential driveways and their property because it's all desert dirt. So if you are parking on a residential street, please be very careful to look around and see where that driveway is or might be if you can't tell for sure. And it is very, very important. We've been asked by the town as their guest to not park on residents' driveways or close enough to them that they cannot see around when they're pulling out or swing their big vehicles around. So when in doubt, back it off a little bit. That would really help us and them out. Do you want to start with the safety thing?
Yeah. Okay, I have a few things too. We're just going to go back and forth. There's several different things with safety. We've got a lot of cords and wires and all kinds of things. So just be aware of where you're stepping. These flags that you see all over the place, those are sprinklers. So be careful that you don't trip over any. And there might be some that weren't marked, but I think we got them all. So just be aware of that. If you guys see anything as far as any kind of safety problem, Rochelle is part of our safety leads, and she wears does she have a regular, what color is her vest? Red, blue?
Which team?
Oh, Rochelle has a hot pink vest on, but the other ones have blue vests. So, get a hold of somebody if you see something, going on. Also, that part of safety is if you see anything, if this doesn't happen very often, but it does on occasion, you might see somebody, two people maybe getting tense with each other, or there's no alcohol, no drugs allowed on the premises. If you see somebody that seems to be impaired, see somebody in the blue vest, or if it's real imminent and it seems to be a real problem, just catch anybody, any volunteer that has a radio so that they can communicate with Rochelle. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. So anything that looks like it might be out of the ordinary, again, for our safety and your safety, or again, any wires, cords, anything that looks amiss, you would get a hold of, for something like that, you would get a hold of Jake, or again, somebody with a radio, or just a regular vest. And then we have also safety, first aid safety. So if it's the first aid booth is the red canopy, and they also have red vests. Jamie is the head lead on that. And again, the same thing follows. If you see somebody, or if you need assistance, go to the first aid tent. Or again, rarely, but it does happen on occasion, where someone has become impaired in some way in the health-wise, whether they've, fainted, they're dizzy, they don't look well. Again, the first aid people are wearing red vests, or find somebody that has a radio so that they can get in touch with Jamie. Okay,
go. Also on the housekeeping department, some people have been asking, where do I camp in Quartzsite? I'm assuming we all found a place at least for last night, because we made it here right now, but some of us just rolled in 5 minutes ago, and that's okay too. Camping around here, there's lots of BLM land around. That's Bureau of Land Management, and that includes some LTVAs, such as long-term visitor areas. I am just planting a seed to roll those around your head. For more information, at 1 o'clock, one of our breakout sessions, Brian Gifford, who's also a member of the HOWA board, will be discussing that very topic. So keep your eyes on that 1 o'clock mark to find out more about that. If you get hungry, we have several food trucks on site. You're also welcome to eat your own food that you brought with you. But in the parking lot behind us, we have sort of a rotating collection of food trucks. They'll kind of change up every day, but they do include world's best corn dogs, a Tex-Mex and stir-fry truck. I believe that one's called Big Daddy's, and that might just be the Tex-Mex side of the trailer. My confusion, my bad. We have a pulled pork truck as well. All of those are really, really good and worth the money. So highly recommended. Do you have anything yet?
Yep, trash. Let's talk trash. You'll see trash receptacles around the event. Those are for event trash only. Please do not bring your stuff from your vehicles. It's a pack it in and pack it out. There is a transfer station that is north on Central. It's, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 miles. It may not even be that far out. On the La Paz County government website, it says that the hours are 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So it's easy to get to. It's easy to get in and out. So again, please do not put stuff in our rubbish bins that we cannot deal with.
And if you see we do have a dumpster here, and our personal trash cannot go in there either. That's where we put our RTR only trash. That dumpster is of a limited size. It looks big now, but it fills up quick. And once it's full, we don't know what to do. And we do pay by the pound. So please support this wonderful, wonderful community by taking your trash to the transfer station. Or if you are in an LTVA, if you have paid the fee for the amenities that come with camping in that part of the desert, they all have dumpsters and will happily take your trash. That's what you paid for.
Right. Do you have anything else? I have several things.
Also in the safety department, water truck safety. We do have a truck towing a trailer of water that is spraying the gravel to reduce dust. The person driving that is an anonymous individual who does not want to be named, because sometimes people get mad when they get wet from standing too close to it. That white truck that will be driven by a black dog is going to go very slowly through the aisles periodically with his or her hazard lights flashing. And if you see it coming very slowly, please step aside. The dog is unable to stop the truck unless absolutely necessary, because when the truck stops, the water just continues to spray out. It can't be turned off from inside the truck, and then it all gets wasted and it doesn't get to where it needs to go. We're doing our part to reduce valley fever in the air and keep our super valuable parking volunteers dust-free, so please support us. That would be great. You got one?
I do. Okay, there's a wooden van that Tony is Karen's husband. You'll see him around. He's always got a big happy face and always giving hugs. Anyway, he created this van that everybody signs, so please feel free. It's right behind us on a table. And you just put your name on it. And the fun thing about it is I think he started that. They're very creative people. He started that in 2018. And there's a funny story with that. It just shows you how rumors start. You know, like telephone operator, it starts out one way and it goes way over to something crazy. We had... I was in communication, obviously, with the Bureau of Land Management, and we had a good rapport. And the gentleman who was managing the BLM for this area called me one day, and he goes, Jude? And I said, yes. And he said, I hear you're burning a van. And I said, I paused, and I said, yes. It's a 2-foot by 3-foot cardboard box that is made like a van. And yes, we're burning it at a campfire, and it's small. And there was dead silence on the phone, and then I hear this big howl of laughter. He goes, oh, okay. But anyway, so that just goes to show you, unfortunately, because we are in this area, we can no longer burn that van, but we do love it, everybody to sign it. It's kind of a tradition. It just, it's like putting your name out there and kind of feeling the freedom of it's just a fun thing, because we used to have fun doing the campfires.
And didn't we used to sing a song while burning the van?
That's my next thing. There is, again, Tony and Karen, such creative people. Tony and Karen created a song. It's called the Van Song, and it is it goes with the tune of "On the Road Again" with Willie Nelson. And we will have the words at the van, that's signing the little wooden van in the back, or on the bulletin board. Please go and click your phones and go ahead and take a picture of it, because hopefully we'll get somebody at some point to just come up and maybe sing, so we can all sing along. So we're going to try to get that going, so everybody will be able to enjoy it. It's a really awesome song. Anyway, so yeah, please go take a picture of that so that you have it, and that you'll maybe even practice it. Sing to yourself. The Willie Nelson song. Oh, by the way, there's a story with that too. A friend of a friend, somebody told me this, a friend of Willie Nelson's told him about that and showed him the words, and he looked at it and he thought it was cool. So I think that's pretty awesome. So, and I don't know if it's the truth or not, but they told me that. So anyway, so yeah. Go ahead.
Any more housekeeping to-dos before I get the...
Yeah, the only thing I have is, go ahead. You have more housekeeping?
I was going to go to sponsors.
No, I've got a couple other things.
Okay, then
Okay.
please.
So we were talking about volunteers earlier, and I want to really bring that up. When you see these people with these vests on, they are working and they're lovingly giving their time. And we could not do this without our volunteers. So if you see them around, just give them a hi and tell them you appreciate them, because they keep this functioning. And we have, we always have a need for volunteers. So if some people, the emergencies come, they have to leave, and sometimes that will leave us, kind of more skint, with volunteers. So if at this event you are willing to volunteer, because there's all different kinds of positions, go to the volunteer sign-up area. It's a window at the snack shack, and just please just volunteer. We always need volunteers.
Can I tell a story about that?
Yes.
That is actually kind of how I got to where I am in the RTR. Bob talked about us building community and gave us homework to go out and make 5 friends. And Jude mentioned how in 2019, our lead sound guy had an emergency and had to leave, and they said, does anybody know how to run a soundboard? 20 years prior, I had run a sound thingy at my high school for musicals and plays, so I thought I knew stuff. So I said, I'm bored. It was my first RTR, and I was showing up as an attendee. I had just quit my job, gone on the road, and showed up at the RTR to see what it's about, just like many of us here. And they said, does anybody know how to do sound stuff? And I thought I did. Muddled my way through it, and through that experience, made wonderful friends with volunteers and attendees alike, including Jude, including Tracy. And I think we completed the homework Bob gave us times 10 between then and now.
Truly. And by the way, Jake, you did an awesome job by not knowing what you thought. You thought he knew what he was doing. He really, really helped out.
And keep in mind, we didn't have electricity then. It was generators and wires strung out on BLM land. So volunteering, for those of us that enjoy such things, and it doesn't have to be that hard. Parking is fun, a little physically intensive for those on their feet all day, but they got a great team with a great, wonderful leader.
Absolutely. And there's so many different positions there. So please, ushers, go to the snack shack, the volunteers sign in, and they can send you to see what can be done.
And it doesn't have to be for now. If this is your first RTR, you probably want to sit back and learn some stuff. And that's why we're here. And we want to make friends with the people sitting next to us out on the field. And that's okay. But if you start thinking, I really like this and I would love to be a part of it next year, then you can sign up and kind of be on the list, and we'll reach out to you next year.
And then the other thing I have is, again, this is all about building community. And a lot of us, when we first start out, for whatever the various reasons, you just want to do it, you have to do it. Sometimes it's scary, or you feel it's scary, or you feel alone. And that does not have to be. So please, really, don't be shy. I remember when, again, in 2018 and 2019, people would say, I'm so shy, I don't want to talk to people. Don't do that. I have found that our nomads are some of the most kind and really loving and helpful people. And I have seen amazing things happen. So please, just chitty chat with people. If you're at the bulletin board, just say hi. If you're just walking around, say hi. You will find your community, and that's what this is all about. So please, don't feel that you cannot communicate with people, because everybody's pretty open to receiving conversation. Anyway.
Yeah, and in this community, this is one of the few places where you could see people in $100,000 Class A RVs and people in a Breaking Bad mobile or a van or a car help each other out and become
Absolutely.
best friends. I've seen it many, many times. Do not
Absolutely.
be afraid of your neighbor.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is we do have a lost and found. So it's located again at the volunteer sign up at the snack shack. So if you lose something, just go over there and see if it might be there. Now time to mention sponsors.
I was going to incorporate that in the tour. Can I do both?
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right, let's take a tour around the grounds. I'm going to stand up so I can point. As we look around, we have lots of booths and information and sponsors and opportunities to learn some things, meet people, see stuff. I'm going to stand up here, and if my wire allows, my apologies. We talked about where the porta potties are. Here's Bob's Ambulance. It's being offered in a sweepstakes. You can go to, Tracy, where? The HOWA booth, Homes on Wheels booth, the tent right over here, and sign up for that. Donations accepted, am I correct? Purchasing tickets for the sweepstakes is done via a website, but they can get more information at the HOWA booth. Thank you. We have a tech support booth where people can get some help with phones and computers, muddling our way through various apps. We have the merch table where we are selling RTR and Homes on Wheels Alliance stuff, but donations? By donations. Thank you for that correction. We have the Homes on Wheels booth where we can find out more information and get some help registering for the sweepstakes for Bob's Ambulance. What's the next? The info booth is the rainbow tent over there. They know everything, and anything they don't know, they know where to point us to, or they can find somebody to help out. So ask questions there. And is that the button booth behind that? The button booth where we can get our name tag buttons and get to use that as a conversation starter as we're meeting each other and working on our homework that Bob assigned us. Beyond that, we have the bulletin boards. That's under the rubber Tramp Rendezvous on the backstop. People can post things for sale, things they need help with, things they're offering to help with. So if you need help with something, don't just post your help me with my broken battery. Take a look and see if somebody is offering their electrician services. Great community building opportunity there.
Or if you can help somebody else.
Yeah, if you have a skill or a thing to offer, you can post that as well. Keep the Nomad community going by helping each other. I'm going to step back my direction a sec. All these tables out here in the infield are part of the free pile. People have donated items that they either no longer need or that they think would be valuable to some of us nomads. Some items are new, some are gently used. There is clothing, there is gadgets, there is cooking utensils. You never know what you'll find there. Please take a look there. That opens after this introduction session. And if you have any questions, we do have volunteers there available to assist and answer some questions. On the back wall, we have our cold weather gear tent. That's anybody who needs it, right? For nomads in need that need a little assistance in some warmer weather, especially we have some cold nights now. You can stop by there and see if they have anything that might work for you and fit you. Next to that, we have a couple tables of arts and crafts. That is Gravity and Tam? Gravity and Tam are leading that, and it's a fun place to do artsy, craftsy stuff. I'm not a craft person, so I can't talk about and make stuff and meet people, do arts and crafts together and meet people. Beyond that is we have some game tables which have been really, really popular. People get together there and they play a variety of games, board games, card games. It varies. People have been having a blast, meeting each other, and just sort of having some fun. Do we have adult games past that? Further on down, past the first aid tent. Again, the first aid tent is the red one. Go there if you have a boo-boo. Beyond that is the adult games tent. So no children allowed, and that's where you're going to find yourself playing games like Cards Against Humanity and things that might involve words that little ones should not hear. Did I miss anything? There is a kids' activities area between arts and crafts and games with Legos and things like that. Just like our dogs must be leashed, our children must be leashed. Oh, no, supervised. Accompanied by their responsible adult. So it's not daycare. Let's keep that in mind. A few other items out here. We have a collection, these tents out here in the, what do we call that, third base field. I don't play hockey, so I don't know how the vocabulary works. But we have a few sponsors that have been really valuable to getting this Rubber Tramp Rendezvous up and going. Without their financial support, it would not be all that it is today. Oops, gravity is. One of those, they have a tent, I can't find it in the hubbub, is Caminha Me, that's Portuguese for walk with me, and it's an app built with love, spawned by one brother's concern for his nomadic sister and her safety. Go by and check them out and find out if that's of use to you or any of your nomad friends. We also have back against the fence by the black SUV, HOWA Outdoors. Their new partner with HOWA, and they're helping nomads in need. There is more info on their website. I'm going to botch this, so I'd say when you're roaming around, stop by and check them out. Another one is Lee Time. That's spelled L-I Time. They are right here, and they are a leading manufacturer of reliable, high-performance lithium iron phosphate batteries built for off-grid living. Helps, it complements with solar setups and inverters and some of the other things that we are going to learn about throughout this RTR. Stop by and check them out. And they don't have a booth here, but we do want to thank them for their support. Off-Grid RV Solar. They're located on the corner of North Central and West Campbell Street here in Quartzsite. They specialize in custom RV solar installations for all types of rigs, known for lowest prices for Victron parts in Quartzsite, and those are quality parts if you're not up to speed on that. Go see JR and tell him you're part of the HOWA and RTR community.
The Healy.
Did we not?
The Healy.
Healy?
Yeah.
Haley?
I just want to mention that real quick.
Yeah, talk about them.
Healy, you might want to check them out if you're looking for any kind of beds or camping gear, gear for inside your vehicles. They got a really cool bed that it can be used in almost any kind of a vehicle. In fact, I think they have a display using it in a minivan. So please go ahead and check them out.
And Haley means go in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the other thing that we didn't mention, Tracy, where's the tin can? Where do we want to place it? Because they can't do it here, so it'll have to maybe be by one of the. Okay.
Tin can is on the table down at the bottom of the ramp.
We had this fun thing that we used to do again in the other RTRs traditionally. It's called the tin can, and that's where it's just a fun thing. There's some paper and a pen there where you can write any kind of a question, any kind of a philosophical thing, something funny, something serious. And then Jamie's going to be doing that. I'm not sure what day it is, but so just feel free to go down and write anything down on it. Well, you have to be careful. Yeah, what you write. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, we do have to pre-read them.
Filters will be applied.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's going to be Jamie doing it. So.
You'll find out.
Jamie's a kick, man. You'll love her. So anyway, so again, it's down there. It's just a fun thing that we do, and it's just a little entertaining. So just, yeah, again, community building. So anyway, it's right down there. It's literally a tin can with some paper beside it. So you can just, there's a little slot there. You can just put your information in there. I think that's it. Anything else, Tracy, that you can think of? Yes.
Shall we provide the schedule, wrap up with the schedule for the day? Yep. All right. We're just about done. We'll let you know what the schedule is for the day here. It's also posted on the Homes on Wheels Alliance.org website. But the rundown for today is the first session on stage after this will be at 12 o'clock noon. Some clumsy clown named Jake will be talking about camping on public lands. At 1 o'clock, so that'll be pretty much immediately right after that, there'll be 2 breakout sessions. One of those was mentioned earlier, that is finding a campsite in Quartzsite. That will be led by Brian Gifford, who always has a lot of knowledge about camping in the area and other places. And these breakout sessions, by the way, will be back against the fences. I'm pointing 2 different directions. We'll point them out when they happen, but that's where breakouts happen. They're sort of informal. And another breakout session going on at the same time, so you'll have to choose, will be Nomad phone apps presented by Dan Rowe. We'll introduce him at that time as well. So that's our 12 o'clock and our 1 o'clock sessions. Bring your own chair, both to the stage presentation and to the breakouts. And then at 2 o'clock, Bob Wells returns to the stage to talk about his philosophies on nomading, and he kind of introduced himself earlier. And then at 3 o'clock, Gong Gypsy will be performing. You can see her white van along the backstop over there, and she'll be setting up her gongs. And she's been delighting the RTR community for many years. With sort of I don't know how to, like a sound meditation. I've heard some people use the words sound bath. I don't know if that technically applies. She is very talented. I have heard it and experienced it up close. And for people who that's their thing, they really enjoy it and they agree. So you can join her on the grass in front of that van at 3 o'clock. We have a little bit of time until 12 to walk around, work on our homework, make our 5 friends for life. As you're walking around, please do stop by the HOWA booth and consider encouraging or making some donations if you can, whether it be through signing up for the ambulance sweepstakes or buying some RTR merchandise via donation. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Let's go have
Thank
some
you
fun. See
all
you
for
back at
being
12.
here.
Thank you.
Oh, don't forget to get your buttons at the button booth so you have your names on it.
Oh, the sewing.
We forgot to mention the sewing booth. There is a sewing booth behind us on the other side of the backstop chain link fence. If people need fabric items repaired or put together, check with them and see if that's a project they're willing to take on. That is a volunteer service, and we're very grateful to them.